we will be successful.
Thank you. I have some questions that we'll start with, but if you have additional questions, pass them to the chief or Janet or Kathy at the back, and they'll bring them up. First, I suggest we start with Dan and then Alma and Verge, and then we'll rotate who gets first at each question. I'll give you a 2-minute answer and by saying 1 minute, and then you have an additional minute if that's okay. Dan, the first question. What is your plan to bring new business to Michigan? Then there's a statement. We need diversity.
Well, as I said earlier, I think we need to create a climate where we can grow businesses in Michigan. Certainly, one of the elements of that is fixing our tax system. But I think fixing our tax system ought not to start with the premise that we simply need to cut taxes, and reduce the kind of services that not only our citizens rely upon, but recognize that the essential public services that hardworking, well-motivated, intentioned public employees provide every single day are services that make Michigan attractive to businesses. If you go to the city hall, you need to be able to get your permits. If you want public infrastructure to not fall apart, you have to invest in it. So I think the notion that there's some competing interest between making Michigan a business-friendly environment and having a tax system that is, first of all, fair, but also delivers the essential public services is a false dichotomy. The truth of the matter is, the things that make our state grow have a lot to do with creating a quality environment. And that means not just cutting taxes and basically trying to become the next Alabama, but actually invest in the things that are not only attractive to our citizens, but are attractive to businesses as well. I know there's a lot more moving parts to a more comprehensive strategy, but given the debate that's happening in Lansing right now, I think it's important that we say loud and clear, those of us that believe in this, that the way to make Michigan a business-friendly place, not only for new businesses to locate here, but to grow startup businesses as well, is not to simply try to cut taxes, cut wages, reduce the middle class to the point that there isn't one anymore, and then hope that somehow profits enjoyed by businesses from elsewhere will somehow trickle down and make Michigan prosperous again. It's a false premise, and it's one that has to be confronted directly.
You have 1 minute if you wish.
I think I've said what I need to say. I'll take that minute and reserve it for
Alma?
Yes. Creation of jobs is, of course, our #1 responsibility here in the state of Michigan because we have 1 million unemployed citizens. So I'm looking at a couple of things, and that's the creation of our human talent. Our universities are actually dynamos for economic development. And we have to make sure that we have the human talent that attracts businesses. And on the other hand, we have to have a level playing field for business. And our surcharge is certainly an unfair tax on business. It was one done in the haste of getting rid of a service tax that was very poorly constructed. And in order to level, Pam's laughing, in order to level the playing field for business so that the businesses that are here that aren't getting tax incentives, the little neighborhood business that was created with bioenergy with 5 people, didn't get a tax incentive to come to Michigan because it was created here. And nobody looked back and said, well, let's make sure they've got a fair deal going on. We have to make sure that that playing field is level. We also need to stop spending money on tax incentives that don't work. We need to make certain that when some business tells us they are going to bring 100 jobs in 3 years, they do that. And if they don't, then we better get rid of that tax credit. Because we are wasting dollars that we really do not have to spend. It's important that with our awful amendments to the Constitution, the anti-affirmative action, the Prop 2 amendment that says we don't want gays and lesbians here in Michigan that we change and talk about inclusion in this state, and that we help businesses understand that we are a state of inclusion, and that's important to us. Businesses that are brain-born businesses are not going to come here to Michigan if they think that we are going to exclude and be discriminatory against their employees. So we really have to make a different kind of statement that says what Michigan truly believes and what Michigan truly is.
Okay, Verge?
I can't find anything I disagree with in what my colleagues have said. Let me say, we've got to make Michigan the number one place in the country to do business, because that means jobs. We've worked on that in Lansing. We've laid out the red carpet instead of the red tape for business, and it makes a difference. We have $500 million in new investment in the city. We have cranes in the air. If you haven't been to Lansing lately, you haven't been there at all. We've done it in Lansing. We're turning things around. We can do it in the state of Michigan. We have diversified the economy. The question mentioned diversification. We've leveraged our assets, which includes, I have to say, at Michigan State University in the Lansing area. But we leverage our assets, like the University of Michigan, like our great universities. And we should be doing business incubators more. This is a time when people need opportunity. And it was something I agreed with the governor on in her State of the State. She talked about more business incubation centers around the state, helping people who have ideas, who have great inventions, who may not have the capital, in order to get businesses starting. Small businesses where it's at. You know, when we talk about economic development, a lot of times we focus in on big business and attracting some big new plant or something. But really 80% of the jobs are created with small business. We need to nurture the small businesses. We need to look at business retention before we focus so much on business attraction. But in Lansing, we've done this. We've diversified the economy. We have biotech, high-tech, IT, healthcare, and also manufacturing. We have the Denver Corporation, and we have General Motors still going strong. So that, and of course, state government. So the diversity in the economy matters greatly, and we have a long way to go in Michigan. And then we have to be willing to fight in Washington for fair trade. You know, it matters when we can compete on a level playing field. It matters. When President Obama issued the tariffs on the Chinese tires, do you know people went to work in the domestic tire industry? They're hiring people now. It matters when you have a level playing field. And then I wanted to tell briefly the story about when I first became mayor and went to Korea on a sister cities and visit our sister city, Asan. And I saw building and cranes and construction going on all over the place. And I asked Mayor Khan, how have you accomplished this? How have you done this? Mayor, you've done what any mayor around the world would want to do. How did you do this? I see cranes in the air. He ignored my question twice. The third time, I got an answer through the interpreter. He said, in America, you look at economic development as job, as bricks and mortar and cranes. That's what you relate to. He said, in Korea, we believe education is economic development. I never forgot that.